Fancy.
Oh, I like that. Because we usually say fancy. She said fancy. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is to get absolutely baked out of my mind. Go sit at a bar somewhere and just eat. And just be immersed in my meal, you know? Check my Reddit in between courses and just completely lose like all concept of time and shit and just really be in the experience and taste everything and interact sometimes, I guess, with people. But that's not what I'm there for. I'm there to just eat and be alone, and nothing else matters in that moment. So this is an interesting topic. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to Fancy Bread. I'm Adrian.
I'm Ed.
And today we're talking about solo diners. And we're also joined by professional solo diner, Miss Erica. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Friend of the program, debutante.
Also, I will say that Erica is our first guest, right? Or one of our first guests this season that is not a restaurant or works in the hospitality industry.
She's not in the industry.
She's not in the industry.
She's a civilian.
So for all of you out there who are saying, oh, I wonder if I can go there and talk my mind or share a cool conversation. Yes, we can. So throw us a DM. Maybe next time it'll be you.
Or not.
Or not. Erica, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Ay, Dios mío.
Now, Erica, as a solo diner, tell us what draws you to dine on your own.
I like to pamper myself, and I'm a foodie person.
Would you say that you prefer dining alone, or do you prefer dining with others?
I like to dine by myself and also with others, but I'm very honest. I enjoy to be by myself at least once a week.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is it like part of your pampering, or is it a ritual that you do?
It's part of pampering myself and also leisure time.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What about you?
Well, to me, I love dining by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Do you prefer dining by yourself?
prefer dining by myself. I would say it's kind of like a 50-50.
Do or die.
I think it's necessary for everyone to dine by themselves.
Do or die.
So,
Do or die. Enough with this 50-50 shit. Do or die.
do or die.
Eat alone or eat with other people.
Eat with one person. However,
That's too easy though. No.
But hey,
eat,
listen.
eat alone
Yeah.
or eat with 4 people.
Oh fuck no! Eat by myself.
Woo! Because saying
Good thing that is out.
eating with one other person, especially if it's the right person, someone who doesn't weigh on you, someone you have great chemistry with, that's just as good as eating by yourself.
Correct.
So that doesn't count. That's too easy of a question. Eating with 4 people or eating by yourself.
By myself.
Even if you like those 4 people.
Every single time.
Even if you like those 4 people.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Dining on your own. I think it's a necessary thing. It's important for you to have time for yourself, to be alone with Reddit or your thoughts or your podcast or your notes, whatever it is that you need to do.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity because obviously if you are not doing that, you probably are dining at home and you're probably cooking, you're probably prepping, and this is going to take you time. So it's something for you to say, oh, today I feel like... And then go into that particular place and then just sitting down, allow yourself to be taken in this experience, or just sit down, have a meal, and go home, right? Because sometimes you just don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with dishes. You don't want to deal with the preparation.
Right.
Or, you're just saying, you know what, I'm not going to, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to create something as nice as what you're probably going to go out to eat. Yeah, it's just how it is.
Yeah,
You know?
it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, because what you do, in a way, kind of defines you, right? But if you don't cook every day and you're not that great of a cook, you can never compete with a restaurant with people who are doing that every single day, time after time after time after time after time.
Restaurant food is also much less healthy. That's why it's so good.
It's full of fats.
That's why it's
and
so good.
sugars. That's why it's so good.
As much butter as you think a restaurant uses in food, I would say double that. And that's usually how much butter they use. That's why it tastes so fucking good.
Yeah, and sugars too. That salad dressing that you're enjoying, that you're like, oh my God, this salad is so tasty. It's so healthy. But it's fine because we're indulging. and that's okay.
Moderation is key. Moderation is key.
Absolutely.
Ask me if I prefer eating alone.
Well, I mean, I guess you started with your story, but would you prefer dining yourself or a table of four?
If you told me I could never eat with anyone again, I can only eat by myself, I'd be like, where's the punishment? I don't get it. I love eating by myself. I love it. I love sharing time with one other person, very rarely small groups. But for me, eating with two people is approaching too many people. Like I said, I love sharing somebody I'm comfortable with. I love going out to eat with them and all that shit. But if you had to ask me, my preferred mode of dining is by myself at a bar.
Would you say that you have a moment or a dining experience that you did solo that you just remember so fondly? Is there one that just top of your head, you're like, I remember that one time I went to this place. This was the experience.
A lot of places, but one of them is Carbon
Yeah?
in South Beach.
You went to Carbone by yourself?
Yes.
That's pretty gangster, I'm not going to lie.
Nice.
And I had an amazing experience. I ate the veal parmesan. Was delicious, and the service was top notch.
Yeah.
What day of the week was that?
Oh,
Do you remember what day?
Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. Was it busy?
Honestly, yes.
What time did you go?
6:30.
So right when they opened.
Yes.
Right.
And at the
Which is something
beginning,
we're going to be talking in a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, go ahead.
We got to get into those details.
Yeah.
I went, I believe, 3 weeks after they opened the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, restaurant opening.
It's
Solo
very-
Diner. Look at that.
It's very important to discuss the details about solo dining because I have a love-hate relationship with it. I like serving solo diners, but we'll get into that.
we'll
in a
get
little
into
bit, I
that.
guess.
Sorry, I want to say something.
Please go ahead.
I prefer to dine around 7 or 7:30. But for solo, when you go to Carbon, they have just two options: 6:30 for the opening, or around 10:30 or 11 p.m.
And we'll get into why that is.
We're going to get into that, but would you like to share a particular solo dining experience that you had?
Not a
great
particular
time?
one, no. I
No?
do it a lot.
Yeah?
I can't think of one particular one. I just enjoy it in general.
Then what about one thing that happened to you as a solo diner that you said, man, if every restaurant that I went to by myself, they did that, that'd be fantastic.
I was at a bar at a really nice restaurant in Miami, and I happened to tell the bartender, I happened to give off really strong vibes that I wasn't there to socialize with anybody. I don't know. I guess my energy kind of did that. And I'm sitting down, and the bartender already knows this. So the bartender's kind of just, I wasn't like being a dick. Bartender was like, oh, what's going on? How you feeling? You know, welcome back. I'm like, hey, man, what's up, man? You know, I'm obviously not giving off the friendly vibes. And the couples that sat next to me started talking to me, which I hated. Not always, but just for this particular night. Hated. And the bartender was like, I don't think he's in the mood to talk tonight, guys. But if I'm here to help you if you need to talk to somebody. I was like, yo.
Above and beyond, baby.
Fucking bartender, server, and a fucking bouncer / security guard. That was nice.
Nice.
Really, 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 really nice. I really had a good time that night.
Nice.
Right.
To me, is I'm gonna say it's this nice little pizza shop called Nick's Pizza in South Beach, and honestly,
They serve steaks there?
no, they do not. They serve pizza.
Oh, pizza chop. I
Yeah.
thought it was like a pizza / steak fusion place.
No, just walking in, pizza's over there. They just reheat it. But what makes it really special?
Pizza.
I go there often, and as soon as I walk in, the guy recognizes me and just says, "Usual." I'm like, "Sure." I don't
that's cool.
have to go to the. I don't have to go to the cashier or anything. I always have, tend to have cash. I give him cash. Always tip him extra
Oh,
too.
you tend to have cash now.
Yeah, I tend to have cash, and I tip him extra too.
I wonder where you
'cause-
got that from.
Listen,
Different sources in your life.
exactly.
Right.
Maybe another great experience that I had. But
Right.
the point being is that it's to me so pleasant when you walk somewhere and they recognize you because not only you're a nice guest, you tip well, you appreciate them, and they recognize you. They're like, oh, so they might even call you by your name. They're like, oh, can I get you the usual? And they're like, yeah, just give them some cash, sit down, eat, walk out. It's such a time saver. It's a wonderful experience every time. And I know you might be saying to yourself, oh, I wish people remember what the key to that is tipping. You want us to remember you. You want us to make that, hey, welcome back, Mr. X. Get you the usual.
Right.
You got to tip.
right? If you walk in somewhere and you frequent the place and you don't tip really well, you might say to yourself, I mean, you might not think it, but you also, some people might say, oh, by now, I've been here 5-6 times. Like, are they going to recognize me or something? Well, they probably do, but they also recognize that you don't tip well. So they're always going to pretend like, you might get a like, oh, what's up? Welcome back. Yeah. You're not going to get a warm welcome. Mm-hmm. You might. Let's be honest. You might get a warm welcome, but it's going to be from someone who's like goofy as fuck, who's all about hospitality and, exactly. Doesn't know what the fuck the money game is about. Yeah. But from a real person who is willing to give you good service, but appreciates being compensated for giving you good service, they're going to be like, oh, here's this fucking guy again.
And I want to deep dive into that too. Sometimes there are certain there are certain servers or serve staffs that are friendlier to you than others. And it's because, well, they all have their threshold as what is nice, what is you being nice to them, what is you being generous to them. So they might say, I'm not going to give this person that much thought, that much energy, that much attention. There's guests. I frequent this place. There's places I frequent. And one that I do, obviously, certain people I tip better because they're better servers. And because of that, they treat you nicer. So some of them are like, hey, welcome in, Adrian. And you're like, yeah, nice. And some of them are like, I'm like, that's how I feel about you too, puppy. You suck. You know who you are. You suck.
But everyone's different, I find it suspicious if I go in somewhere and everyone is really sweet. It's like, am I about to get fucking... Is this a cult? So I get that feeling when I go to... what's the place that closes on Sundays? The chicken place? Chipotle...
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
So I've been to Chick-fil-A once, and I've never been back. I'm sure they do really. They obviously do very well because when I walked in there, everyone was wearing like polo shirts, and everyone was really sweet. I was like, I got to get the fuck out of this place. Really, really strange. So if I go somewhere to eat and I don't get a little bit of like attitude and sense that people are dynamic, they're different, everyone's like really sweet, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Nice. I don't know. Maybe it's a childhood issue. Who knows?
What about you? Do people usually recognize you when you walk into your favorite place, or do you tend to go to new places all the time so they don't necessarily recognize you?
Usually I go to maybe 2 places, new places every month.
Okay.
But one of the places I usually go a lot is Joya.
Okay.
And
where?
Joya.
Joya. It's in what's the name?
It's in between Miami Beach
Jungle Island?
and Miami.
It's in Jungle Island.
Joya
next
Beach.
to the zoo.
Joya Beach.
Mm-hmm. Joya.
Ah, you like the view
Joya.
and the
I like the
water.
view. I like the food. I like the service. I like everything.
Okay. So places you frequent.
So in that place that you frequent, do they recognize you?
They
Do
recognize
they treat
you?
you well?
Yes,
Is
all
it
the
everybody
time.
in the serve staff or just a couple of staff members that recognize
Couple
you?
staff and also the manager.
Okay.
Okay. Do you tip well when you eat by yourself?
Yes, of course.
How much is a good tip?
Of course,
for a
it's
solo
not
diner?
necessarily.
Depend because they also put the 20% and I sometimes put 10% extra.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, an extra 10%. Well, that's also another thing.
I'm honest, not all the time. It's depend of the service.
Depends on the
Of course,
service.
depends on the
as it
service.
should be.
Exactly, because every service should had the opportunity to make extra.
The potential to make more money.
There you go. Ask you because for those who don't know, Edwin here is a generous tipper.
I do the best I can, guys.
So when you go out solo dining, do you have a rule as to how much you tip based on the service for a solo diner experience, or is it the same for all kinds?
No, it depends on the service as well. I like to be generous, but it makes me feel good to make someone feel like they did a good job.
Nice.
And it's a beneficial cycle, right? If you want to get like all energy and metaphysical about it, it's a circle. It's a karma thing, right? You give what you get.
Correct.
Right? So I give so that I can get.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right. All that shit.
Well, to me, I tend to have a rule. When I solo dine, I tip more. I tend to tip a little extra when I solo dine because I don't drink, not at this point. I just might taste it. So whenever I go to a restaurant, I'm that guy that sits down and says, I'll have water and just orders food. And I'm dining by myself.
Right.
So I know
you don't get a good look.
Exactly. You immediately don't get, and we're gonna move into challenges.
You know you don't get a good look. You know when you sit down and you're looking all fucking cute and you order water, your bartender, your server is like, fuck.
Exactly. So what I tend to do...
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah. So what I tend to do is if I got good service that day, I will tip sometimes even up to 40%. That's like my go-to, because I know if my check might be, let's say, $60, right? And I said, oh, I just had my main course, my appetizer, I had a bottle of water, maybe I throw in a dessert. I say, you know what? I throw in $100, because that's how much it would have been if I would have been sitting there with another person. Maybe that bill would have been up. That's what I tend to do. And that way you leave a good impression. Every time I walk in there, they recognize you. They give you the usual.
Their eyes, you can tell. People's eyes light up when they see a guest they like.
Exactly. And I want to be that guest. I'd say to myself, if I'm going to come here often, if I'm going to walk into that place out of my mind, or however I want to walk in there, just relax, listening to music in my zone, and like, hey, it's a phenomenal experience.
So this is what you have to understand, right? So when you walk in as a server, there's different kinds of guests, and there's different reactions to that guest immediately. A guest will walk in, they're very sweet, but they don't tip. Not every guest needs to tip. Yeah, that's the truth. I'd rather have, a super sweet table, doesn't tip. It is what it is. Yeah. You're not going to guarantee to tip every single time.
What do you consider sweet table?
People that are very nice. People that have a high dining IQ. So, because dining takes experience. You have to eat at places a lot to understand ins and outs. So people who are obviously diners, who are educated diners,
are a little bit more tolerance.
Are lovely to serve. So there's those people who understand the dynamics of a restaurant a little more. They see that it's busy. They're like, okay, I understand when my drink isn't here. That kind of thing, right? So people that are like that are very sweet, but don't tip you. You say, hey, listen, there's different forms of payment. A form of payment for me could be that I didn't have to exude a lot of energy with the table, right? This table didn't suck me dry of my mental energy. That's a form of payment, right? That they were just light and they didn't require a lot. To me, that's a form of payment. Totally fine.
An easygoing guest.
Easygoing guests, right? Or you can be an asshole and tip really well. That's fine too.
And those are always very nice, by the way.
That's fine too.
I love assholes.
I love
who
assholes.
Tips. I love it because
I love assholes.
And sometimes
I'm an asshole.
Yeah. No, but sometimes I get an asshole.
Wait, hold on.
Please.
You are?
Please.
Why'd you laugh so quick when I said that?
Nothing.
It felt natural. It felt natural.
Nothing. She laughed a little bit too fast when I said I'm an asshole. No, but that's the thing. There's different forms of payment. There's different ways that a table can make you feel good about serving them. And the thing is, like, if you're a solo diner and you are a generous person, the moment you walk into any place that you frequent, the staff's going to light up. Immediately, the staff will light up 100%. Because even if there's people who haven't waited on you, right? They might even recognize you because there's nothing more. There's not a place more fucking chismoso than a restaurant.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows.
They like gossip.
Do they like gossip?
Do they?
Yo, there's not a place I've seen that's more gossipy than a restaurant.
Wow.
You can be off and you will find out shit that happened at the restaurant because people will send a message. They'll be like, yo, what happened yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. Super gossipy.
Oh, they might say, yo, I have X guests coming in. Just make sure they're taken care of. Blah, blah, blah.
Incredibly gossipy. You walk into a restaurant and you're known as a bad tipper or a pain in the ass.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Because you could sit down. I know you're a pain in the ass, but I'm not serving you this one time you come to the restaurant. I'll go to your server. I'll be like, yo, Boricua over here. Canelita over here. Pain in the ass.
I'm not.
No, I'm not saying you are.
Just in case.
But I'm saying. So yeah, so if you are a guest who is just a breath of fresh air, restaurants will appreciate that. Especially if you dine by yourself.
Yeah. And I just wanted to throw in out there, we love our asshole guest when they tip. Because at times you have these tables and you say to yourself, you know what?
I love him.
I'm gonna go for it because he knows he's difficult. He knows he's an ass.
Right.
But the worst part is when the experience is done and they didn't tip you, like, son of a...
That might be the worst guest.
That is the worst.
An asshole doesn't
tip. They're
tip.
difficult. Customers difficult.
Because if you're a difficult person, if you're constantly trying to control everything that's happening around you, I want this now, where's that taking so long? Why is that there? If you're constantly trying to control what's around you, you're a terrible guest. However, if I measure up to those expectations and you don't tip, sir, you're not being an asshole. You are an asshole. And we don't like those.
I see what you did there.
Interesting.
I see what you did.
How do you feel when making a solo reservation at a restaurant?
Honestly, amazing because I don't know if I can mention, I use Open Table Resi for like normal restaurant. And when I want something more fine dining or high end, I use Talk or, oh my God, I forgot the name.
It's okay. Take your time. Yeah,
have
look
it
it
here.
up. Yeah, it's okay.
She wrote notes.
She got notes.
So cute.
See?
Oh, for a fancy restaurant, Talk or 7 rooms.
Very well. So,
It's really easy.
have you ever had any issues making a reservation for one person, for one guest? Sorry,
Yes.
for yourself?
Yes, for a few restaurants.
What kind of issues have you encountered?
Because you cannot dine by yourself. For example, Alina
Okay.
or Delilah, you have and need one more person to
Dine at a table.
Yes.
Yes, it's true, but I don't like to eat at the bar.
Well, you see, that's
I like
something-
my table for myself,
Okay.
and
Well,
I don't like to
you
sit
want me,
at the
you
bar.
want me to give you some inside scoop?
Please.
Yes,
When you sit down at a table by yourself and you've never been to that restaurant, nobody recognizes you. When that server looks at his section or her section and they see you sitting at a table by yourself, they don't like it. They don't like it.
are you sure?
Positive. First impression,
As a server, not
As a
as a person.
server.
Oh, okay.
they don't like it.
Not everybody. I do.
They don't like it.
I don't mind it.
They don't like it. I'm not
Because
saying they
I
hate
like
it.
to be a single diner, so I don't mind whenever I have a single diner.
Yeah, but hold on. Here's the
Love
thing,
that.
though. Here's the thing. I single dine a lot,
Yes.
but I've only ever single dined at a table maybe once.
Why?
Because restaurants don't sell tables, they sell seats.
Okay.
And there's no such thing as a table designed for one. The smallest a table is for two because they need to maximize seats. So that's why at certain restaurants, you can't make a reservation for one at a peak time because the restaurant says there's no way we're going to sit a single diner in our restaurant at a peak time and lose out on that second seat.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why usually when,
Lose on
for
the same
example,
side.
when I say
Right.
Carbon, they have the options
That's exactly
to do
what I
like
mean.
when they open
Yeah.
or when they're ready to close.
Exactly.
But some of them, like Delilah, you can. It doesn't matter.
That goes to show you.
Yeah.
Because they understand because
And
they're
a
selling seats. And there's a lot of things are designed that way. Like tasting menus at a lot of restaurants, you can't do them for one.
Nope.
You do them for two. Minimum two.
Depend because I went to Hidden.
Not everybody.
Yeah, of
And
course,
when
yeah,
it's-
yeah.
oh.
But that's a little bit more catered to
right.
it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When it's prepaid, for example, Hidden and Naoi, I had amazing experience and I did it myself. I don't
Right.
have
Nice.
any issues, I believe, because I already paid in advance.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Well, the point to bring here as well is that it goes restaurant to restaurant. It varies, right? Restaurants have to pay square footage.
Yeah.
So this table here, normally designed, I would say for 4. If you sit 3, you're losing money on one seat. If you're sitting 2 people, you're losing money on 2. Get it? So restaurants would not, like you mentioned, take the risk of sitting at one top when they can sit 2, 3, or 4. That's why odd numbers are the worst numbers you can have in a restaurant. If you want to be a table of 3, they have to either sit you tight in a table of 2 or give you a table of 4. If you're a table of 5, again, they will do the same. They'll
Right.
tight you up in a table of 4 or give you a table of 6. And restaurants are losing money. And again, they have a lot more going on than just rent and overhead staff.
Yeah, but
et
it's
cetera.
all
a business.
circumstantial. It's all circumstantial, right? A restaurant would rather have a table of one than no table.
Some restaurants.
That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing at peak times, a restaurant would rather have a table of 2 than a table of 1.
Of course.
That's why. Listen, I'm all into. Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with solo diners, but specifically at tables, because I don't sit at a table. I sit at the bar. Solo diners at tables, I have a love-hate relationship because I love the fact, and in a way of like solidarity, I'm like, good for you. You know, I eat out by myself. Great for you.
Well-
I love the fact that when you eat out by yourself, guests tend to be very chill. They tend to be very chill. So going into it, I say to myself, at worst, this is going to be a very relaxed table. I don't have to stress. Again, there's different forms of payment. If a table's chill, to me, that's a form of payment. I already say to myself, oh, that table over there, I don't have to worry about that person.
Well,
Right?
to
I
me,
say something?
please go ahead.
You can say whatever you like.
Thank you. I had an experience. I went to Sassy Fish long time ago when they opened. I believe 1 week after they opened. I was by myself and I have next to me this couple. I spend more money by myself than them. That's why, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 1 person. If you have the money,
Yeah.
if you go to a restaurant and you say, I want to spend this amount, it doesn't matter if you're going by yourself or with other person, because sometimes you go with the other person and they spend less than 1 person. It depends of the person.
Absolutely.
Correct.
But what
'Cause-
we're referring to is more in general.
Yeah, because that's one of the challenges of. I'm going to close this up and then I'm going to move into that challenge. To me, single diners are some of the most important diners a restaurant can have.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Because think about it this way: when you go to dine with someone, you're bringing that person's expectations, experiences, etc., and you might just have a conversation with that person, and your whole meal might be about the experience that you're having with that person. When you're dining solo, time moves completely different. It's not the same as you waiting for a drink 5 minutes when you're with someone having a conversation as you waiting 5 minutes on your own. It seems forever. Also, the kind of experience that the solo diner is taking in, sitting in a table, is the kind of experience that almost no one else gets. They actually get to see the place, look around, feel the vibes, see how the service is going, truly take like their time in their dish because no one is pressuring you to eat or go faster, go slower.
It's true.
These diners are the ones that truly take and immerse themselves into the experience. And those are also the ones that might even leave reviews, might definitely come back, tell other people to come back, because when you have that wonderful experience on your own or that terrible experience on your own, trust, you will share it. And these are the kind of people that share it the most.
Okay, but hold on though. You're talking about the perspective of the diner.
Yeah.
I think when somebody eats by themselves, all of that is important.
Yeah.
I think the great thing about eating by yourself is that you have no distractions. Your experience is completely pure, whether it's good or bad. But that's
Usually
not,
it's amazing.
well, it depends, right?
But it benefits the restaurant in many ways as well.
Right, but what you're not discussing is how you feel about serving them.
I love them.
Right, that's the thing. I already said I have a love-hate relationship with
know.
solo diners. I love all those things that I already mentioned. I love all the things you already mentioned. Because, like, you know, I'm empathetic about certain things. Good for them. But what I hate about solo diners is, generally speaking, they don't eat as much. They don't drink as much. They don't tip as much. Because people tend to tip based on what their check is at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying a solo diner is not going to tip you. Again, this is just a general, it's just completely general. From my experience, however, I've never gotten a monster tip from a solo diner. That's just the nature of the biz, bro. So ultimately, when I see a solo diner, I love them because they tend to be very chill, but I think they are a waste of my time because they're not going to tip as good as a 2-top or an 8-top.
And that's okay.
That's the nature of the biz, brother. This is dollars and cents, people. This is not a judgment. This is an observation. That's it.
Well, let's see how
An observation.
Let's see how you can help push that ticket up, maybe with your own table or with a table right next to it. I have a question for you, Miss Erica. How often, as a solo diner, are you approached by other people? Not necessarily staff, but also the people that are dining at a restaurant.
A lot. And very honest, I don't like it.
What do you mean you get approached? You get approached by men? Like
By
other
men
men?
and women sometimes.
Like other men like try to flirt with you? They try to pick you up?
Yes.
Okay, how often do you get flirt? I mean, how often does the staff flirt with you? Has the staff ever flirted with you? Try to like, you know, get your phone number or
90% of the time. And sometimes also the chef or someone from the back too.
where the fuck? Where you eating at? I mean, the chef's coming up. God damn.
Hey, listen.
It's
Go ahead, please.
It's happened to me in a few restaurants. Here in New York, in Chicago, in California, in Puerto Rico.
It's one of the
But
challenges
also here.
of a single diner, especially if you're a female. Obviously, if you dine in a restaurant on your own, it's very likely that you might be approached. And if you don't, then the restaurant's telling you something.
So I've read a couple of things. So the majority of solo diners are men. The majority of solo.
Really?
Yeah. The majority of solo diners are men.
Oh, that's why, could I say something? That's why I'm impressed because when I went to this restaurant, the hostess came to me and told me she feels inspired because she never saw a woman eating by herself and paying for their own food.
That's, I mean,
Hey, it's a moment.
That's so much
It's real.
bullshit.
Thank you
That's
for
so
sharing.
much bullshit, though, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. And what I mean by that is...
I feel that she told me genuinely.
No, genuinely, I think it's bullshit.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Hater.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I see a woman sitting down to eat by herself. I don't say, wow, what an empowerment to the female movement.
Oh, really?
No, I don't give a shit. I see a woman eating by herself. I say, there's a person eating by themselves there. That's it.
A person eating.
True,
Oh, wow.
but in that case,
This is
I
your
don't see an
perspective.
True.
Oh, my perspective, 100%.
true, but in your case,
As a man or as a server?
As a server.
As a man?
And as a man.
I understand that you, as a person who tends to dine by themselves
Yeah,
a lot, you wouldn't feel inspired by that. But to someone who probably doesn't do that, you might say to yourself, "Huh, that seems nice."
Yeah, but at the same time, think of this, bro. Here's another thing that it gets on my nerves. It's like a lot of the sentiment behind solo diners that I've come across is like, wow, that's so brave. That's
you
so
have
brave.
to be brave because not everybody in
Eric,
Miami, they
come
don't
on.
have the courage
Come
to
on.
go to the restaurant and sometimes they don't have the money.
Be brave. No. We're not talking about finances. Finances is a different thing.
It's a different thing?
That's
Okay.
that's a different issue.
Some people don't
Right.
have the social confidence
Okay.
to dine on their own.
I get that. Listen, like I said,
The right phrase.
I like to consider myself, regardless of everything, I like to consider myself somebody who's who has empathy. I believe in promoting mental health, and if somebody suffers from a level of anxiety that would make it hard for them to eat out by themselves, hey man, listen, get over that. But you got to deal with that shit before you go to the restaurant.
It's true.
So that's my
You
point.
have to prepare yourself
Right.
at home.
But that's my point. My point is, it doesn't take bravery to eat by yourself.
No?
It's not that serious. You know what took bravery? The fucking people who stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. That shit took bravery. Not eating at a Miami restaurant by yourself. Who gives a shit? It's not that serious, bro. Bro, when I was looking up stuff for this episode, I came across professor at such and such, a restaurant consultant. It's not that serious. It really isn't. It's not that serious.
Just go and eat.
If you got issues, you got to deal with those before you walk into the restaurant, right? Whatever pep talk you got to give yourself in the Uber on your way there, in the parking lot before you walk in.
Or whatever pregame you need.
Whatever you got to do it. But honestly, we're talking about voluntarily dining and being able to afford a restaurant. It's not that serious. The hardest part about eating at a restaurant by yourself is being able to afford the restaurant.
Got it.
Right? You can afford it. All that psychological bullshit just makes the food taste bad.
Just one little thing that
Makes it taste bad.
I want to throw out as a caveat for single diners. As a single diner myself, I also don't tend to eat at the bar that much. My reason for it being is, I'm sorry, bartenders, you might be great at making drinks, but you suck at service. It happens so often that bartenders have no idea what their menu is.
It is true.
They have no idea what tastes good, what doesn't taste good, how to read your guests in terms of food. Now, I'm not saying that all of you. No, I'm saying that a lot of you. So whenever I go to a nice restaurant and I want to have a good experience, you don't sit at the bar. Some restaurants that you frequent, you say to yourself, you know what, next time I come here, I'm going to sit at the bar. I know what I like. I know what they're going to serve me at. And that's okay, because even if their service sucks, you already know, I know what I'm going to get. Go for it. Good. And tip less, because, hey, you suck at service, your tip sucks too.
Listen, I agree with you. Yes. Bartenders tend to not know shit about their food menu. It's the truth. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They know how to make their drinks. They know how to socialize with their guests, but they don't know the nuances.
Not all of them, but a lot of you fucks.
This is generally speaking. Usually, some of the people who are worst with the menu in a restaurant are bartenders. Really bad.
But that's normal, because it's like if you ask me, what are the measurements exactly in the XXX drink? I don't fucking know
Different
that.
positions?
I don't know that. But also, side notes, some bartenders also don't know that.
Yeah. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. But you see, that's the fundamental difference between you and I.
Yes.
Right? That goes to show you. When I go out to eat, what do I care about?
Food.
I care about the fucking food.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there. I'm not there to see the lights and the fucking this music is 2 decibels too loud. Like, I don't give a shit about it.
Which, before we move on,
I do actually.
Go
I do.
ahead.
But I mean, specifically, I'm not there to see the bathroom or for the aromas. I'm there to eat
And that's it.
and get the fuck
Well,
out.
well, that's a great question for Miss Erica. When you go out to dine to the restaurants that you decide to dine on your own, what are the key things that you're looking for in that restaurant? Is it the food? Is it the vibes? Is it the ambience? Is it the food, the service? What are the key things that you, as a diner, look for in those solo dining experiences?
First, I look for the chef. I did a research about the chef. After that, the menu, the ambience. I like to eat a lot outside, and the service.
What are some of the preparations that you make yourself when going to one of these solo dining experiences? Do you look at the pictures of the place and maybe pick up your outfit based on that? Like, what are some of the things that you are very important to you when you go to a solo dining experience?
Usually, I read a lot of magazine and I also receive emails from restaurants. After that, I went to, for example, Open Table or Resi or Talk and look for the dress code. And then I prepare my outfit because I believe it's important to dress in the right way when you go to the restaurant, when you are by yourself, because sometimes you can get the wrong impression. That's it.
That's pretty good.
Usually, I'm not going to Instagram or any social media to see the pictures because for me, it's more important what they describe on the email or on the reservation app.
Interesting. So not everybody cares about pretty pictures.
That's deep, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. So,
That's deep.
if you're a chef out there, make sure to update your bio if you want Miss Erica to come check you out.
That's deep. Fucking looking at social security numbers and fucking blood type and shit.
Well, let's talk about some things that we can do, both as solo diners and also as servers who are serving solo diners, right? I have a quick little tip for those people that are going to dine on their own. First is always have a backup plan. Personally, one thing that I enjoy about solo dining is that you can just walk into a place, sit down anywhere. Because yes, true that if you want to make a reservation, the restaurant will try to put you early or later. But if you just walk in, it's very likely that someone didn't show up, etc., and you might have the chance to just sit at a table. If not, just opt to sit at the bar and take it in. But if not, always have a plan B. It's proof that you got this.
I have some advice for solo diners. It's deep and philosophical. Sit at the bar. That's all I got.
As a man, in my opinion, it's fine to sit at the bar, but as a woman, they get the wrong impression because they believe you are there to find a man. And this is not my purpose. I go to a restaurant to enjoy time by myself and taste and enjoy the food. That's why I like to sit at the table.
So it seems I respect you saying that. I understand. This is Miami. The escorts sitting at the bar is a realistic thing. It's a real thing.
Very real.
It's a real thing. But it almost seems counterintuitive because if you only care about enjoying your experience, then you should care less about what other people think. There's something called the spotlight effect. And psychologically, what it means is very simple. You think people are paying attention to you more than they are. You understand? You think people are paying attention to you when they aren't. Not you, but in general, I understand that one of the big barriers for people dining by themselves as far as anxiety goes is you feel like people are paying attention to you. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares. And I'm saying this to empower the idea that you might want to go somewhere. Hey, listen, I want to go eat at a restaurant I really enjoy. I don't feel like really dressing up.
Okay.
I'm going to go sit at the bar and eat by myself. Because I'm telling you, let's say worst case scenario. Somebody thinks, hey, she's an escort. She's here waiting for somebody. She's here to pick somebody up. Then all of a sudden they realize you're asking for your check and you're leaving. Doesn't matter anymore. You ate your meal, you enjoyed your meal, and you left. That's my point. A lot of people are concerned with this idea that everyone's paying attention to them. Nobody cares.
I don't
Nobody
think
cares.
that people care about me or no, but I like to eat at the table because I
get
know
that.
I'm eating by myself.
Yeah.
But I love food. I like
Great.
to order my appetizer, my entry, and I like to have all the space for myself. Usually when you sit at the bar, you don't have a lot of space.
And you're sharing your space as well.
Yes. I like to put my purse on the side or at the chair and have my wine or my cocktail, my water, everything
Great.
with a lot of space. I cannot like sit at the bar. Maybe I can sit at the bar to have a drink. I don't drink like cocktails or something like that anymore. But I love to sit at the table. For me, it's part of the experience.
Okay. That's
Right.
good.
Speaking about eating, what is a typical order that you would make at let's say you walk into a restaurant, how many things do you usually get to yourself? Do you start with a bottle of water, you get a cocktail, do you get wine? How many apps do you get? How many
Let's
desserts
say,
do you get? What is your
Let's say a steakhouse order. What's a steakhouse order look like for you?
yes. Let's say you go to a steakhouse by yourself.
You're sitting at
For
one
example,
table by
I
yourself.
went to Mastros
Go ahead.
by myself. I verified the wine list, right? I ate the filet mignon and I ordered a Pinot Noir with the filet mignon because, in my opinion, pair with the meat.
Do you know some stuff? Carry on.
And after that, I ordered my appetizer and then my filet mignon with the side, and then the dessert.
What'd you order?
Usually, I'm more a seafood lady than
Steak.
eating steak. I love steak, but I prefer seafood like halibut, scallops,
Great.
things like that.
But you were at Mastro's, so you were having steak.
Yes.
Got it. May I ask what dessert you had at Mastro's?
The butter cake.
Okay.
You have to get the butter cake at Mastro's. I'm sorry, but that's like the butter cake.
This fucking show was about to be over right now. If you said anything other than the butter
And I
cake.
sit at the table like this, just for myself. They don't have any issues. They don't tell me you want to sit at the bar. No, I did my reservation. And
Do you know why? Do you know why that is though? Because Mastro's is always empty.
Unfortunately.
Oh,
So
honestly, when I went, was no empty.
Oh, nice.
Generally speaking,
And I
it's,
told,
not, it's not a busy restaurant.
and I told the hostess I would like to see because they are playing a piano.
Yeah.
I love music.
Yeah.
And I told her I would like to sit and watch the piano.
Did they
lady.
sit you at one of the high tables by next to the bar?
No, like the regular table, but a little bit next to the bar. But no,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
I
She got-
enjoy it. And I also
she got prime time seating, baby. Hey.
and I also watched
job, Masters.
the view from Rico. I had a good
It's
experience.
a
view of the
beautiful,
wa- it's a beautiful restaurant.
It's a beautiful restaurant.
But
It's just
generally
unfortunate that it's
speaking,
not
it's
as
pretty
busy
slow.
always.
It's pretty slow.
Food is great. Service is clutch. It's a great experience overall.
I wish Mastro's well.
I do so too.
I wish
because
them
I want
well,
to keep
but-
enjoying that
but-
butter cake.
But seeing the trend of their covers, I don't think they're going to make it. I hope they do, but I don't think they're going to make it
We're rooting for you.
because that's the second steakhouse that opened in that place. I miss Wolfgang so much.
I went to Volcans too, long time ago.
Any Peter Luger clone, I love. I love a Peter Luger clone. I don't care how many steps it has on it. Like if it's a Peter Luger clone, they tilt the steak, they do the clarified butter, dry aged. That's my kind of place. Dirty fucking plates, rude servers. Give me that.
There you go.
But anyways, like I said, that probably wouldn't have happened at a very busy restaurant.
Okay.
What time did you walk? What time did you go?
7
Yeah. What day of the week?
Friday.
Erika, I'm sorry. That would have been tough. That would have been tough.
Not
At
everywhere.
a busy restaurant, that wouldn't have happened everywhere. And again, it's not.
But they have
because-
more space than other steakhouse.
Yeah, because there's no one eating there. That's why.
Okay.
That's why they have more space.
It is the ugly truth.
It's the ugly truth. They have more spaces. No one's eating there. It's a shame. But
Now
anyways,
I want to finish up with some do's and don'ts, some things that we would recommend that you try with single diners, and some things that we suggest you avoid with single diners as well. Do you have anything we should start?
go ahead and start.
I'm going to start with some do's. Number one, start with a warm welcome. This is a person that's dining on their own. Everything that you do, this person will take notice. So try to be nice, try to be charismatic, try to be personable, right? In my case, I usually go to the table and I have my cheat sheet so I know the person's last name, and I will start by calling that person by the last name and give them a warm welcome. Another thing that you want to do is recommend dishes or drinks. Although this is something that you can do to any table, it's a little bit more important to this guest because it's a very unique and tailored experience. Look at what they're dressed. Look at the way that they're dressed.
Yeah.
Look at the way that they speak, their mannerisms, and try to tailor something more specific to them. Try to get them in a way to have something outside of the scope of what they were having, unless, of course, they're very well prepared and they know exactly what they want.
How do you greet solo diners?
I would say in your case, well, I mean,
How do you greet them?
it's
very important.
Mrs. Smith.
It's very important how you greet solo diners.
Oh, absolutely. I would start with her name. I'm going to throw it at Mrs. Smith, right? So I'm going to say, good evening, Mrs. Smith. Welcome to Fill in Your Blank Hill here. My name is Adrian, and I'll be your server today. I like to start with something simple, positive, and to the point.
Me too. I like to say, you look really lonely. No one's joining you tonight. That was corny. I'm sorry.
No, but that's good because that's on the no side.
That was corny. I'm sorry.
No, because on the
so a solo diner, you have to be very casual with the initial greeting. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
I like when people are more professional, polite.
Casual.
That's okay. Please go ahead.
No, I don't mean
please.
casual.
Miss Erica, Madame, Mademoiselle.
Okay.
Mademoiselle.
No, what I mean is casual
add
in the
that to the
sense where you don't make a person feel bad because they're eating alone. Mm-hmm. That's something you don't do. There's certain things that a server you need to understand. There's unwritten rules. I'll give you an example. If a man is dining with a woman and you recognize the man, but he's with a different woman, you don't say welcome back.
You don't
Sure.
say welcome back.
No,
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. You don't say welcome back because that's the biggest cock block move ever.
Exactly.
You don't say welcome back. You just proceed as if, and if he doesn't speak to you like he recognizes you, even though you might have seen him 7 times, you go with the flow.
Yep.
You go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big don't or do or don't, whatever the fuck we're talking about.
There you go.
So another little unwritten rule is you don't make a solo diner feel like a loser for dining alone.
Correct.
You don't say, is someone else joining you? No. If you know they're eating by themselves, you just take the extra setting away and you don't even talk
She's
about it.
smart.
You don't even talk about it. You just start the dinner. That's it.
True. However, it is not wrong or impolite depending on how you ask the question, right? You're not going to go
course.
to that table and be like, "Are we expecting company today?" Or is it just very simple, very clear to the point? Will anybody else will be joining you? It's a simple yes, no, and it's not obtrusive. It's not insulting because it's just a simple yes or no question. Most of the time, we servers know if you do your job and read the cheat sheet and it says one guest,
Correct.
but still, or it's even easier if the hostess does her duty and also puts the napkin differently or the silverware on top of the plate. There's many different ways for you to signal the server to know and then just seamlessly take that out without even having to ask the question. That's even a step above because then that person knows, they know I'm here on my own.
That's what I do.
It's
They're
true.
going above and beyond. They're being extra. They're calling me by my name, they're etc. And that's just
what I
creates
do.
this, holy shit, these people know what they're doing. And on top of that, one that I personally like to do because I like to get down and personal with
Of course you do.
my single diners
course you
is
do.
that depending on the flow of your conversation, how you started, if you complimented, or is there a reason in particular why this person is dining with us, depending on the vibe that you and your guest might be having, I will also say, may I kindly ask your name? And from that point, I will call that person by their name. But that depends, again, on the rapport that you have with your guest.
Of course. For the solo diner, it's much easier to do that.
Absolutely. Because, again, everything that this person does, and you want to get, I tend to give them the opportunity to say, hey, just give me a call when you need me. And it's just a little bit more personable. They feel that in this chaos of a place, they do have someone that's their friend or someone who has their back. I try to do that.
Right.
Feel free to give that
I
a try.
don't prefer waiting on solo diners, like I said, because I don't really get much from them. But I am going to do my job. I am going to be professional. I'm not going to make you feel bad for dining by yourself. I don't see anything wrong with it. So it's not as if I'm hiding my intention. No, I just see a wasted seat at the table. That's all I see.
I think it's a great opportunity for you to work on, for anyone to work on some of those social skills, right? Because you as a server, you say, oh, this is a one table. This is a way for you to approach one person at any time. But you, in a way, kind of have the permission to do so. The same with 2 tops, 3 tops, 4 tops, 5 tops. Because people think that, oh, just because I'm with someone's not going to hit on you. Think again.
Yeah, but
those barriers are easily broken.
Yeah, but we're very different because
Yes, we are.
where we work, you tend to get sections. I mean, you're a monster turning tables. You tend to get a lot of smaller tables. So you have to deal with this a lot more. I work with bigger tables usually. So I don't have to turn them as often. I still have to turn them, but I work with bigger tables. So I like engaging with like an 8 top, a 10 top, standing in front of them and making everybody laugh. Like that,
Okay.
I've worked a lot on making that easier.
You
for me.
polish those skills a lot more. You hone those.
So when I get a single diner, for me it's like nothing. I'm taking care of nobody. And I just it feels
It happens. It's one of those. It's one of those episodes. If you have an 8 top, a 10 top, and a 1 top,
Yeah.
it's like
It's really weird. It's really strange. Like the like juxtaposing like an 8 top energy, 10 top energy, and then a solo diner energy is weird as all hell. It's
But
weird
hey,
as all hell.
some of those solo diners can really make your night as well. You know, they can be cool.
I mean, like I said, the best thing I've gotten from a solo diner is chill energy. Not money. Chill energy is the best thing I've gotten from a solo diner. No solo diners ever tipped me. And I'm talking about I've given them the most phenomenal service ever. I'm not saying, oh, they didn't tip me. What the fuck? No. The best service ever. It's extremely sharp, professional. I've earned this extra tip. No, nothing huge. I like big tables because big tables have bigger checks and people tip based on what their check is.
Yeah,
That's the nature of the business,
It's
bro.
all person to person. Haven't necessarily received a masterful or grandiose tip from a solo diner, but I've given great tips as a solo diner. I've been to places and I've given 100% tip.
Yeah, but we're talking about them to you, not you to them.
Of course, but hey, listen, you know,
Of course, nothing. If solo
it's
diners,
a
if
simple
solo
rule.
diners,
It's a rule of life. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
exactly.
You know,
If solo diners tipped me as good as I tip when I eat out by myself, I'd love solo fucking diners. Dude, when I eat out, I swear to you, I sit down, I don't say a word. Right? I interact with the person taking care of me, the bartender taking care of me. But dude, I'm just chilling. I eat fast as fuck.
Yeah.
I eat fast as hell, Erica.
when you're eating by yourself, oh yes,
I eat fast. I'm in and out. I could do a tasting menu in 40 minutes.
Really?
11, 12
Wow.
quarters. I'm in and out of there. Right? I'm in there. I'm eating fast. I tip really well and I'm getting the hell out of there. Right? If solo diners were like that, I would love solo diners. But the nature of the biz is that people who dine by themselves, you're not going to get a lot of money from them.
everybody has.
And I'm sorry,
has their own.
do you live in Miami? This shit is expensive.
I know.
Now you got to make some money, bro. That's the nature. When I see a solo diner, I say, "Oh, it's gonna be chill. It's not gonna be a lot of money." That's me. That's the way I think.
One more thing that I do want to mention is that whenever you have solo diners, it's important for you to recognize the amount of space that they need and when exactly to pass by. Because it's nice for you to hover and just kind of give them a look, but you don't need to engage with them every time you pass by. It's not
true.
needed. It's not necessarily. You don't need to compliment them every time you pass by. You don't need to over ask them questions. You do not. This is someone that
Yeah.
at times, the rule that I imply is if they talk to me, I will talk back to them.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, you're just pushing on something that you think they might need, but in reality, nobody even asked for.
How do you
So
feel?
being extra sometimes is something that you have to
How do you
remember.
feel about a solo diner? And this is something I also came across, like advice for solo diners. I Googled advice for solo diners and a lot of shit came up. One of the things that was repetitive was people said, bring a book to the restaurant.
Oh, it's weird.
Yo, if I see you reading a book at a table at a restaurant I work at, you fucking geek, I'm making fun of you to your face. To your
Me too, because
Oh,
it's
you
weird.
do?
Yes, it's weird.
Oh my God.
I love books, but I read books when I'm by
At home.
the pool, at home, exactly. But
At a
not the
restaurant table?
restaurant.
Well-
no.
I'm not sure if this is an
weird.
up-to-date
It's weird,
reference.
bro. It's weird.
But a book in the bar and a glass of water or in a lobby used to mean working.
Ah, okay, I see.
So it was an easy way for you to say, this person's just, sitting next to the area, just doing the thing. And you're
Right.
like, this person's at work.
So
Exactly,
so there you
but
go.
not the fine dining restaurant.
Oh, no.
At the lobby, exactly, or at the bar.
Oh, no.
Exactly, at the
Oh, see,
lobby
there
or
you
at the
go.
bar.
This used to happen
But-
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Not sure this is, like I mentioned, this is not an updated thing, but that's how we
you
used
see
to.
how you said that you felt bad about the stigma that if you eat at a bar, people are going to think like you're an escort.
Right.
Well, if you're not,
I don't say
If you're
escort.
not reading a book,
You say
you're good to
escort.
go. Well, what the fuck?
But that's
what are
how
we
it used
talking
to.
about, bro? We're talking about being
Bobby,
an
it used to
escort.
be a book and water. That was the code.
Right. No books, no water for
No
you.
books and water.
So if you go to a bar, you don't read a book, you don't drink water, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, you just have a cocktail.
Have a cocktail
Or mocktail.
or a mocktail
Or mocktail, which are very popular. We got to do an episode about that.
or a
pretty soon.
mocktail. Good. Yeah, don't bring books to a restaurant.
And most importantly, and finishing up with this one, do not rush their meal.
Well, I mean,
Please.
No, I mean, well, that's anybody. If somebody feels rushed while they're eating, it could be a tent top, it could be a solo diner. That's not good service.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them good service.
True, but what I meant by that is that in a situation where you're in a fast-paced environment and things have to move, you need to find obviously the way for you to push without seeming like you're pushing. And to a solo diner, this is a little bit more important because again, everything that you do, every minute that passes for a solo diner, it's double than if you were with someone, right? Because they're looking at the plays or at themselves or their phone, etc. Instead of just having this conversation and time is just flying by so quick. How long has it been since we started recording, right? But if you were by yourself, just talking and be like, man, how long have it been? I think only 2 minutes have passed. Oh, right. So they catch those things a little bit more.
Well, they got to go.
In the end, everybody's got to go.
You got to go. I mean, if a tent top who's spending a shitload of money has to go, a solo diner certainly has to go. You got to go, Papi.
And remember, if you want to stay,
you gotta pay. That's
right?
it.
Anything else you like to share
go.
with the solo diners out there? Maybe a tip or to servers out there?
Eat is a necessity, but eating well is an art. Save room for dessert.
Wow.
I love it.
You believe when we first started the show, she was all shy and shit?
I know. And now she's like, save room for dessert. I love it.
We have to do this more often.
Miss Erica,
Good for you.
thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Anything you want to close with, sir?
Yeah, eat at the bar. If you're dining by yourself, eat at the bar. Stop taking up tables. Let's be honest. That's it.
So to everyone out there, what I would like to say is embrace it. Start with places where you feel comfortable. Enjoy the freedom to explore your taste. And remember that dining alone is a chance to savor both the food and your own company. Thank you for listening.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.